Roto Rooter is the worst company ever. Oh my goodness. Welcome to my nightmare. I wish I read some of these reviews before I actually contracted them to work in my home. This company is awful. Look at some of this. They will overcharge you. This is an emergency. Say this is an emergency. Faucet for $720. There's just complaints after complaints. Roto Rooter sucks. This is the worst company ever. Please stay away from them. I wish I read these reviews. You are warned. Roto Rooter sucks. Roto Rooter is terrible. I just want to make that clear. In fact, this is where I hope you guys don't mind. We're going to vent. This is, I keep it real, man. This is my life. I had a water leak, right? And, I'm sitting there, I'm hearing water drip. I get out there, there's water coming, drip from my attic onto the floor. It's getting on the couch, on the carpet. I call Roto Rooter. I see advertisement all the time. You probably like me. You see their advertisement. You think that it's a credible company that's going to be able to take care of you. Big company. I call them. No problem. Everything's going fine. They send out a technician. The technician, is like, yeah, it's going to be $325 for me to inspect to find out where the leak is coming from. I'm not a plumber. That's why I called you for. By all means. I paid him the $325. Please find out where this leak is coming from and stop it. The technician, climbs into the attic and he does all his inspection and he comes back and he tells me, hey, this water leak is from your AC. That your AC that's up there, the pan is full and that's where the water is coming from. I'm like, okay, so what do I need to do? He said, you need to call an HVAC company, HVAC, HVAC company. That's the people that take care of ACs, just in case anybody that's listening that doesn't know. I call an HVAC company immediately. And they tell me, we'll come out tomorrow and be able to inspect it. Everybody's booked up. Okay. Mind you, the professional plumber did an inspection from Roto Rooter and determined that the source of the water leak was my AC and gave me a bill, $325, which I paid. And it says it right on the bill that the source of the what they determined to be the problem is from air conditioning, HVAC, right? I call the HVAC company. Like I said, they come out. By this time, I call my insurance. Now, mind you, what the main thing, as soon as Roto Rooter got here, before they even got here, before the plumber got here, I think they sent a mitigation team. Hey, we're going to set up a parameter here. Like, this is just if I change a pipe, I'll be okay. Oh, but you got water coming down and but don't worry, your insurance will pay for it. Okay. They set up a parameter in my home, with brought a bucket to start catching the water. Now, Roto Rooter is terrible. Once again, when I say this, my personal experience with them is horrific. They set up a parameter to, catch the water, big bucket, and I'll put this on the screen so you guys can see this because I took some pictures. They took collecting water, did absolutely nothing to stop the water leak. Remember, they identified it to be, the HVAC. So if this is my AC, it's pointless shutting off the water, right? Because air conditioning has nothing to do with my water flow. So my water is running. It's been running now 24 hours, 48 hours, and my ceiling is starting to, get saturated and it's getting worse. They've just sitting there collecting water. The HVAC people, make a long story short, people, bear with me. I'm venting here. The HVAC people come out. My insurance adjuster is here that day. And while we're walking through, the insurance adjuster says, shouldn't the waters be stopped by now? I said, that's exactly what I said. How much water is in this AC that it's filled a bucket, a big bucket of water? It's been filled up and it's still leaking. So how much water is in this thing? And the HVAC people, I asked the technician, I said, hey, do you mind please search and see if you can find the source of this leak? Because now it's cost me $2,000 to have these HVAC people changing, this water panel, which they've completely changed now. The water's still leaking to the same bucket. My goodness, what is this water coming from? I asked the technician, can you please find out? The technician does a quick inspection, sends me the pictures and a video, says, here's the source of the leak. It's a pipe. It's a pipe. Apparently, rodents had crawled through the attic. The DirecTV people, put a hole through the vent so they can run cables. So a rat got through that hole and chewed the pipe. Mind you, Roto Rooter charged me $325 and identified it as an AC problem. Why this pipe is still leaking? I was starting now question, maybe they did this on purpose so they can collect the mitigation insurance instead of fixing my pipe. As a homeowner, my family was in distress. I couldn't even do my podcast, because, water, people, all over the place. That's one of the reasons I do apologize to you, but this story gets worse. This is a Roto Rooter nightmare. I called Roto Rooter. In fact, their technicians were still, doing the mitigation in my house. They have the whole thing cornered off. A section of my home there cornered off. I called them back. Hey, these people have identified a leaky pipe. It's not the AC. The mitigation people say, oh my goodness, this is terrible. They called their office. They sent a plumber right away. This is an emergency. Send a plumber. Mind you, half of my ceiling is gone at this time because the water has been leaking for 2-3 days now. Nonstop. My ceiling is falling apart. They sent a technician over to come correct their initial wrong diagnosis. Remember, they diagnosed this thing wrong. So the technician comes over, he changes a pipe. By this time, I'm traveling that day to the airport, to catch, I went to Montana State University. They were having a little reunion. So I was flying out, to meet up with my college teammates. So I'm supposed to be excited and gung-ho about this. And it almost ruined my trip. And the technician, upon they find the pipe. I show them the picture. Hey, this is what's leaking directly onto the bucket where you guys have set up a bucket. They changed the pipe, changed the pipe. And the technician tells my wife that it's going to be $3,800 for that changing that pipe. Fine. No problem. Mind you, they have equipment in my home because they're still doing mitigation, all of this. This was like on a Friday now. Because I was traveling, I said, and when you guys finish, send an invoice. We'll take care of it on Monday. Not a big deal. Plus, I wanted to find out, hey, what are they going to do for me? They misdiagnosed my home and cause more damage. You would think that they would jump all over. Maybe instead of $3,800, maybe half of that, 50%, or maybe we'll waive that. Apologize. At least start with an apology. If these people would have changed just this one pipe, I wouldn't have all those damages that they had. Instead, when they came out, As you see on the bill on the right-hand side, they said upon arrival, they found the problem to be AC leak, and for me to call contact an HVAC company, which I did. The HVAC company found the problem to be a leaky pipe. Subsequently, they gave me a $3,800 bill and now says that it's a second leak. How is that possible when you've been here the whole time? Crazy people. I travel. The technician was so rude to my wife. When they finished, he basically was threatening my wife that you need to pay for this service right now, or else I'm going to, loosen the pipe that I just installed. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? I was so angry when I received that phone call from my wife that this technician was refusing to leave. If with all of the equipment, they haven't even finished my home in terms of the mitigation and everything else that was taking place. This matter gets even worse. Like I said, this is a Roto Rooter nightmare, horrific, terrible company, the worst company I have ever experienced. These people, I speak to the supervisor and I tell him, and the supervisor was so rude, a very incompetent gentleman. In fact, I think he was the one that actually said that he was going to have his technician loosen the pipes that they installed. I said, okay, that's fine. I'm just going to let my wife know to call the police and have you guys arrested for trespassing at this point, because I wasn't going to deal with him. Upon my return that following Monday, I returned from my trip. I called their corporate office. I sent them a letter. I wanted to get immediate resolution to this. No response. No response. Mind you, the damage to my home is now over $30,000. Yes, I have insurance. My insurance is going to take care of most of this, but I've already paid $2,000 out of pocket. $3,800 now I've paid to Roto Rooter, and if they would have fixed the first day when they came out, made the correct diagnosis, and it was $3,800, fine, I would have paid the $3,800, but I wouldn't have, $30,000 worth of damages, my family inconvenienced, just everything just ruined. Make matters worse, when I didn't hear from them, I consulted my attorney. Attorney said, this, small damages, take them to small claims court, to recoup your losses because you've definitely suffered losses. I sent a demand letter to them. They didn't respond to my demand letter. And I subsequently filed a small claims court case against them. So I'll show you guys the pictures. They responded. In fact, the day after I filed my small claims court, I received an envelope from them, FedEx letter from their attorney that's going to represent them, essentially claiming that they did nothing wrong, that when they came out, they made the correct diagnosis, that it was the AC. And this is the part that blew me away, because I want them to make this argument in court, because you cannot perjure yourself in court. So I would love for them to make this argument in court, especially with their own staff, with the pictures that I have showing that from day one. So what they want me to believe is that between the time that they made that diagnosis, they somehow, with that water dripping into the same bucket, the rodent must have gotten and bit a pipe now. So it wasn't a pipe initially, but now it is basically they are the worst company. Worst company. I'd never received a phone call from a manager in terms of my complaint, about the shoddy, treatment that we received. Essentially, I'm going to update you guys in terms of what happens at the end. But please, if you do any business with Roto Rooter, you will probably regret it. They are a terrible, terrible company. And I stand by it. My own personal experience has been horrific, horrific. And from the pictures that you see and the videos, you determine a simple pipe leak that could have been fixed in 1 day, 4 days later, and it was still an issue. So horrific. Roto Rooter is terrible. I just want to make that clear.